Good morning, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Have a great Friday, everyone, and God bless you. Alright, the following is a collection of news from Patriots. Now we will come to today's news. And it looks like CNN, of course, once again, gets it completely wrong, and they're shocked by the results that they're given to them in their internal polling by calling people or sending out surveys, and people responding into a way they didn't react or think they would react that way too. And again, it just shows you a major flaw of how CNN, MSNBC, and all these places are biased. They are the in-kind contributions to the Democrat Party. They are one in the same. And whenever they get results, they don't understand they're befuddled by those results. And this is what we're seeing right now. Because voters across this country are rejecting the platform in the Democrat Party, they're rejecting the things that Democrat Party thinks that the American voter really cares about. The Democrats are focusing on climate change, and on sex changes for kids, and abortion, and all these other issues that Americans aren't really concerned with. They're concerned with 1D economy to crime, and then immigration. Those top three things are what the Americans really care about right now because it impacts their everyday life. And that's what they're most concerned about. They open up their wallet, they don't see they have any money, or they have less money than they had before. That is why they're rejecting the Democrat Party, because their platform is absolutely insane. It's no basis in reality, and the American people are tired of this one government rule that we've been under for the last few years. And don't forget, Democrats have been in charge. So anytime the mainstream media wants to lambaste Republicans for something, don't forget who's actually in charge, the power levers of power right now. It's quite hysterical. When you see these people sit there, and media tried to blame Republicans for what's going on, like, dudes, you're guys. So they're the ones in charge anyway. So look and dive into what we have here. And we have this setup here where the CNN host is asking the pollster, what's going on out there? Why are people leaving the Democrat Party wall? Why don't they want to engage with the Democrat Party? They want to vote for them. Everyone listen to this. To asking polls, ask what's the most important issue to you? What do they say? Alright. So this is a new Monmouth University poll, came out yesterday. I shared this dear friend Eric Hall as the executive producer. So I thought this was really interesting here. Look at the top of the list, extremely or very important. 82% said inflation. That's not so surprising. But the crime, look at that crime. It's 72%, way up there, the second most important issue for the federal government to address, and then abortion, all the way down here. It's just 56%, basically tied with infrastructure, 57%, well, within the margin of error of infrastructure. This split, with crime being so high and abortion being so low, was quite a shocker to me. In abortion as an issue that Democrats have been focused on since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. And you look specifically, Harry, at what people are searching for on Google in terms of a couple of these issues. Yeah. So the crime and abortion, because both of those, their placement on that chart was surprising me. So I was interested in what are people searching for on Google? What is it that comes to their mind? So this is Google searches, crime versus abortion. The percentage among those who searched for either look around the time that Roe v. Wade was overturned in June, crime was just at 30% of all the searches that people were searching between crime and abortion was at 70%. In May, again abortion higher than crime. In July, it was basically tied, abortion slightly higher than crime. But look now, in September, crime 71% to just 29% for abortion. That is basically back to the pre-Roe v. Wade overturning sort of baseline, where we were back in April, where crime was making up 74% of the searches versus abortion at just 26%. And this matters because when you look at, there you have it, the American people are speaking, they're saying we don't care about the other stuff. We're focused on what's impacting my family right now, which is economy, crime. Could I even go out and walk in my own community without being robbed, shot, killed out there on the street? That's what people are worried about. Democrats have made cities and places that they govern less safe for the American citizen of once again, because their commitment is not to the citizen as to the criminals and to the people who don't belong here. That is who the Democrat Party is emboldened to anyway. And the liberal globalist order just got a huge 24 nations led by the Russian Federation just kicked Biden and the bullies in Brussels straight in the teeth, and the liberal world order that they claim to be such defenders of is as of today at the brink. Alright, let's talk about what happened today. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, better known as OPEC, is made up of 14 member nations but also has another 10 nations who are oil exporters who, while not formally members, do attend the annual OPEC meetings. They contribute expertise and advice. They coordinate prices together. And collectively, these 24 nations are referred to as OPEC+. And one of the key nations in OPEC+ is, of course, the Russian Federation. Now, what happened today is that Saudi Arabia and Russia, acting as the de facto leaders of OPEC+, got the organization to agree on cutting oil production by 2 million barrels a day. That's 2% of global oil production, in order to force a global increase in the price of oil. Now, what's so controversial here is that was explicitly done in response to the blitzkrieg of Western sanctions imposed on Russia that have attempted not only to sink the ruble, but also choke off the massive revenue Moscow reaps from their sale of crude oil. But up until today, both bumbling Biden as well as Europe's liberal globalist leaders have been urging OPEC nations to produce more oil and ease gas prices, both to relieve their respective populations' pain at the pump, not to mention their rising heating prices with the coming winter, and to also hit Moscow in the pocket as a further sanction against their war in Ukraine. OPEC, in fact, told both Biden and Brussels to shove it. Even CNN is admitting this is a horrific humiliation for the Biden administration. OPEC nations have with these actions announced that they are thoroughly on the side of Russia, as we on this channel have always argued they would be, and they are clearly exploiting this moment of astonishing Western globalist weakness as a further opportunity to continue the massive recalibration. The tectonic shift currently happening in the world political order away from the woke West, and instead towards the more traditionalist, post-globalist Eurasian East. And they're doing it in a way that's exploiting the inherent weakness of the globalist system, particularly the system advocated by the World Economic Forum in Davos. Now, we've talked about this in other videos. The world in effect runs on finance, food, and fuel, finance, food and fuel. Up to this point, the diverse types in the liberal governments in Western nations believe that if you controlled finance, you controlled the banks. As a word, you control the world. Russia has taken the opposite position. Putin believes that he who controls food and fuel is the one who controls the world. And that's because you can't eat currency, you can't eat paper money or use digital money to heat your house. He who controls food and fuel controls the world. And so what we're witnessing right now, with the crisis in Ukraine at the center, we are witnessing a clash between two fundamentally different visions: the economic world order, one which believes that cash rules the world, and the other that believes commodities rule the world. And that is the real war, the real clash that's happening at this very moment. And as of today, who do you think just won that war? Obviously, the ones who control fuel, because he controls fuel controls food, and he who controls food controls the world. Welcome to the collapse of the currency-based liberal order. They're not calling the shots anymore. The commodities-based world order is now fully calling the shots. And at the head of that commodities-based world order is one Russian president, Vladimir Putin. And this explains exactly why they did what they did today. We're going to see exactly how what Putin and OPEC did today guarantees the fall of the liberal world order. So what's happening right before our very eyes is Putin and OPEC are setting the stage for the fall of Europe's remaining liberal governments. We've already seen it with Sweden with the election of a nationalist-populist coalition. And of course, just a couple of weeks back we saw it in Italy with the most right-wing and yes, relatively pro-Russian government elected in decades. We're seeing it with Orbán's Hungary, we're seeing it with Serbia, and everywhere we look, liberal globalist governments in Europe are on the brink. Even French President Macron just saw his majority crushed in parliament because of the rise of the populist national rally. The skyrocketing oil and fuel prices that will beset Europe over this winter are almost guaranteed to result in massive political upheavals. Nationalist populist parties throughout the continent are poised to win and win big. And once they do, the liberal globalist order will effectively have come to an end. They'll storm the European Parliament in Brussels. They'll dramatically change the political and economic policies of their respective nations, and liberal Europe will have, for all practical purposes, fallen. That is what today was all about. A new world order is rising from the ashes of the fall of globalism. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. If you're up for it, I'm gonna get back to work. Thanks for watching, and I will